Hey, hey, hi. Hi, hey, hey, I'm hey, I'm high. Hey, well, not, I'm not high. I'm sober, but I'm Anthony Fantano, the internet's busiest music nerd, and you know who it is. And I heard from a little bird in the chat. I heard from a bird in the chat that Little Tay is the new Tupac. Is that true? Little Tay is the new Tupac? Is that true? It's all about Little Tay now? Little Tay is the number one rapper in the world? Is it all about Little Tay? Little Tay Tay? Oh, my pink eye's fine. I'm good. I'm good with the pink eye. This was my pink eye, and it looks fine now. It looks cleared up. I didn't even do shit. I just kind of I guess it just kind of ran its course. So, nope, no pink eye. My pink eye's all right. I just had like a weird 24 hour. That was the eye with the pink eye. I had like a weird 24-hour pink eye thing for some reason. I apologize to Jason Coleman. Okay, you guys, you made me do it. You made me apologize to Jason Coleman. I apologize for that. God, that's one of the best videos on the internet. J. Cole's the greatest rapper. That was one of the greatest videos of all time ever on the YouTube platform. Like one of the funniest videos ever on YouTube, hands down. Hacking into the Guy Fieri mainframe, like you don't see that shit anywhere else. Like hacking into the Guy Fieri mainframe, you don't see that anywhere else. That was very nice of someone to bring up in the chat. Hey everyone, thank you very, very much, Joseph. You know what it is. It is our bi-weekly Q&A live stream. Thank you very much, Math. And I'm just going to be going over as many questions as I possibly can. You know what it is. I'm just going to be taking questions, super chats, and that's it. Love you guys. All right, let's get into it. Kyle Zappi is back. What up, Kyle? Back with another kick and recommendation, Purgatory by Tyler Childers. Produced by Sturgill Simpson. Damn, that's a hot frig. That is a hot connection right there. Produced by Sturgill. Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. How hard is it to split your personal opinion from the actual critical quality of the song or album? Honestly, I just kind of mix them. You know, my reviews pretty much are personal opinion. I mean, there are some things you can give kind of objective descriptions of as far as like what pops up in the mix and the tonality of things or the ability for the musician to play or sing or so on and so forth, or maybe the time signature it's in, that kind of thing. You know, but for me, reviewing is a personal opinion thing. You know, for me, reviews are opinions. That's just what they is. Nothing bad about that though. Stop Cal from releasing a mixtape from your aspiring melon hue. I will try to stop Cal from releasing a mixtape. I don't know how he got like a DistroKid account, and he's just dropping single after single, and I don't know how to stop him. I don't know how to stop him. He's like a train, a nonstop train. Thank you very much, whoever sent this. Message retracted. Nathan Crumpton. Hey, Fantano, I got a question for you. You've never reviewed anything by John Mayer. No interest in him or simply don't like him? I really have no interest in John. John's music is really just kind of bland for me. I think it's okay. You know, he's a very talented guitar player, but as a songwriter, I just find him to be kind of uninteresting and average. You know, that's my opinion, honestly. But thank you very much for supporting Nathan. Let me dip down here because I know I think I missed this one. Since Bruno Mars loves reviving genres, which would you rather see? Bruno Mars doing hair metal, blues, or doing new wave? I think I'd rather see Bruno Mars do new wave. I think that would probably fit him best. I don't know how Bruno Mars would sound doing hair metal, honestly. Though it would be a very funny sight. It would be a funny sound as well. So maybe that is what I want. Maybe I want Bruno Mars to make some hair metal because I think that would be I would at least have something to laugh at. Hey Anthony, have you checked out the band Kindo and their new album? I have not. New band, new album, new something. I'm guessing so. Also, I just wanted to say that I have a bunch of recommendations from the last live stream that I have saved, and I have not gone through all of them yet. I was just posting one up on Twitter that I checked out. I was getting through some of them, and it kind of reminded me of the fact that Cranky Records used to be so much more interesting. You know, I mean, they're still a decent label if you're looking for some weird ambient stuff, but it used to be a little bit more cutting edge, in my opinion. But no, I have not heard of Kindo. Kindo. I don't know. Maybe I'll check them out later if I get a chance. I always tell myself I'm going to check out this pile of recommendations before I get to the next live stream, but then the week just like buzzes by me. But it looks like they got a new record out. Looks like they're a jazz band, incorporating elements of indie rock and chiptune as well. That'd be hot. I'll try to give it a shot. I do have a couple more jazz records on deck that I've been meaning to cover and review. So, Anthony, how's your day going? Did you pick up anything on Record Store Day? I slept late on Record Store Day because I was up late the previous night working, and I fucked up because my record store near me had an 11-year anniversary sale where tons of new stuff that I had been meaning to get was at a pretty low price, and I was like, oh man, should I go to record? I'll definitely go to Record Store Day and go to this because I'll like blow a ton of money during this sale, and then I'll go to Record Store Day, right? And then I just ended up going there and buying that stuff, and that stuff will turn up in another vinyl update. But I did get some good stuff at the record store. I just didn't go on Record Store Day, so I fucking suck. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible human being. So I apologize for that. But I hope you guys got some good stuff. I hope one of you got that nice Johnny Cash box set that I wanted. Let's see. Hey, Anthony, have I heard of Raccoon? Been checking out music from my home state, and they're pretty good. Now, I've never heard of such a band. That is quite the name. Although I will say that name is pretty memorable. That is a memorable name. Although everyone might not remember exactly how to formulate it or spell it. So, you know, that's the thing. You want a memorable name. You want a memorable band name, but you also want it to be easy for people to type. Going Raccoon is a bit of it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Do I consider D'Angelo's Voodoo a classic? Yeah, I mean, as far as R&B goes, absolutely. It's one of my Desert Island discs, and I would love to see a review from it, a review of it at some point, potentially. And again, Ty, thank you. Sorry to anybody who I forget to thank. I want to make sure I thank everyone. Again, I apologize. But you know, I'm not going to totally rule out a review of that, but I know I am sort of formulating some classic reviews already that is not necessarily at the peak of my list. Hey, Anne Bonbon, ladies and germs. Thank you. I love you. I was wondering what made you go vegan and when, what my diet consists of. If you want to know kind of what my diet consists of or kind of like general diet information that has kind of been from my own personal experience, just email me, anthony@theneedledrop.com, asking me for this vegan primer that I've written up, and I will send that your way. I don't want to, miss out on anything or kind of go over everything half-assed talking about veganism and that sort of thing. But what made me go vegan personally, just ethical reasons and health reasons. And, I just love this diet. I love this lifestyle. I just always have an incredible amount of energy and focus. It allows me to get everything done that I need to get done. And, just makes you feel real good. So I don't know. And obviously, look, you could feel like shit and be eating like shit. As a meat eater, you could feel like shit and be eating like shit as a vegan. It's not necessarily like the silver bullet or the key to life or anything like that. I mean, obviously there are great health benefits to it. But, if you're going to get on this diet, you need to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of calories and all your vitamins and minerals and so on and so forth. And, good balance of proteins and fruits and veggies and grains. And, that's really all there is. Once you kind of hit that good balance, you're having a well-rounded diet, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel good. Hey, Anthony, just wanted to know your thoughts on Budgie and their influence over Metallica, Iron Maiden, etc. Love you. Budgie. Oh, God. You guys are totally just making me look like a fucking idiot here. I can't even comment on that. I cannot even comment on that at all. So, I mean, what is their influence on Metallica? Is like a hard rock band from the 70s, or really, I don't know. I have not listened to a Budgie album all the way through. So, this is, I guess, your opportunity to shit all over me for having not heard Budgie. So, I mean, if you're bringing them up here, they most likely influence Metallica. I imagine that you wouldn't just bring them up out of the blue, but that is not a band I'm familiar with at all. So, just you can shit on me in the comments if you want. And thank you for liking my glasses. I like you back. I like you too. But thank you very much for supporting and outing me as a loser. Let's see. What is my opinion on Cristobal Tapia de Ver? He only does TV soundtracks. He's got an amazing sound, very unique. I don't listen to much, contemporary soundtracks, if any, especially not TV soundtracks. And let's see. I did not hear his stuff on Utopia. I did watch the new Black Mirror and the season finale. That was one of the better episodes, although I didn't really pay close attention to the soundtrack. Because again, when it comes to visual stuff, I just suck. The music's obviously important, but this is exactly why I don't review shows and I don't review soundtracks. Although I did, review that season of Black Mirror because I thought it was terrible. So honestly, I don't really have any thoughts on that. So, still though, thank you for supporting and allowing me to talk more about everything that I don't know and how clueless of a human being I am. Let's see. Shout out to Carl's new fire track. Never brushed my teeth for 2 years, but he mentioned it twice now. I'm on that best teeth life. Also, when are you going to box Review Bra and or Paul Joseph Watson? Oh man, I would love to do a tag team match against Review Bra and Paul Joseph Watson. Actually, I would rather have Review Bra on my team versus me. Versus Paul and Alex Jones. That would kind of be my ideal tag team match. But thank you very much, Dustin. Ice Christ say, oh God, why are there so many Y's? Why are there so many Y's here? On Spotify, iTunes, one of the best underground hip hop albums I've heard in 2018. Highly recommended. Okay, well, all the Y's in that name better be worth it. That's all I'm going to say, okay? All the Y's in that name better be worth it. How do I feel about Fish? I don't really feel much about Fish. I just feel it's like kind of bland jam rock. It's impressive that they play as well as they do, but the songs really just kind of mean nothing to me. They were undeniably DIY in their rise to fame, and one of the more, certainly one of the more important live acts out there. It's always nice to sort of see a band out there with good chops who can actually play, but it's really just not my sound, my vibe, that and like Grateful Dead stuff as well. It's really kind of not my deal. Maybe it's something I'll get into more when I get older and mellow out. But right now I'm a loser and a crackhead, and I like overly aggressive, edgy bullshit. Love them glasses. Any tours planned in the future? I do have some tour dates that I am announcing in May, so keep an eye out for that. So first week of May, announcing some tour dates. Get ready, Cody. Thank you. And Master H9, thank you. Or Master HH89, thank you. Arrow, saw JPEG Mafia last night. After all of the Kanye tweets yesterday, Peggy said Kanye is doing what I'm doing but wrong. Which is pretty great. That's all I've got. LMAO, love ya. I guess one could probably say that. I feel like when he said, I'll never go blonde like Kanye, I feel like he almost predicted this shit. I feel like that was a prediction. I feel like that was a predictive moment. I feel like he almost had a premonition of what was going to be happening. Which, how much of a premonition is it really, considering that he did the meeting with Trump and he endorsed Trump, during a live set. It was clear that he likes the guy. I don't know why anybody's acting surprised now. But yeah, I co-sign that. I think that's pretty funny. Let's see. Dan Mann 55555555555. Oh, and Arrow, thank you. Don't think for a goddamn second I'll forget the shit you talked about Spider-Man 2. I want all the money I've donated to TND back, including the super chat Spider-Man 2 10. Look, I just find the Rami films, Rami, Rummy, Rummanum. I think aesthetically those films are just kind of bland, honestly. Like, it's just really overproduced, super glamorous, just super average, like superhero movie pap. You know, like I get that the movie was, kind of grand and ambitious and did well and, kind of helped put comic book movies on the fast track. But I don't know. I just kind of like some of the weirder, darker, edgier, kind of more odd comic book movies, like the old like Tim Burton Batman shit and that sort of thing. So I don't know. That's sort of where I'm at. Around that same time, I really loved Kick-Ass and that sort of thing. Loved Sin City. The Spider-Man movies just kind of really don't do anything for me. Let's see. Yo, check out the new project from Pablo Collective, a 55-minute message from the Pablo Collective. It's original. I heard some of it on Bandcamp, and it's okay. It's not quite what I was expecting, but it's a little all over the place. But I guess if you're into more unpredictable experimental stuff on Bandcamp, give it a shot. I mean, I give them all the credit in the world for taking as many risks as they do and just kind of being as out there as they are. Which, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on Bandcamp like that. Am I a fan of the Butter Tones? They have a cool surf rock sound. I'm not, unfortunately. I can only take so much surf rock. It's cool, but it's a little campy. It's a little gimmicky. I mean, if the guitar player is really great, I'm totally down for it. Or if they just have some really good tunes like the Ventures and stuff like that, I'm totally down for it. But I'm not always into the surf rock thing. Let's see, Andrew, and Darian, thank you. And trying to thank everybody, I'm sorry. Andrew, hello, Mr. Sir, High Lord, Melon Fantano. While you're taking recommendations, I should check out Oxydaisy, a cool, dreamy psych pop band from here in Denver. All right, I'll try to take that. I'll take that and I'll put it in. Oh, okay. Denver band. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, First a Flower came up. So I was like, oh, well, they're not a flower. They're named after one, though. That's another thing about a group name. You got to find something with Googleability. Got to have good Googleability. Think about that SEO when you're thinking about your band name. Think about your SEO, okay? What are your thoughts on the new Pornographers? I know you weren't into their newest album, but I think they have amazing songwriting and hooks, and their vocal harmonies are superb. Yeah, but with the new Pornographers, with the new Porns, it really just kind of matters who's writing the track, you know what I mean? Because they're a collective, and some records and some songs are better than others. Some tracks have different vibes and personas than others. So, I mean, generally I like them. They're not one of the more experimental and adventurous indie bands out there, but more of a tote bag indie band. But, they got some good records. I respect them. And Will, thank you. Hey, Melon, love your stuff. What are your thoughts on the album Rap by the Hill Climbers? I have not heard that album, so I cannot comment giggity gorsh. I've not Hill Climbers Rap. I don't think that record has really that record has not come across my path, so I cannot comment on it. I apologize. Scott McCumber, hey man, thank you for recommending Nassim. Oh dude, no problem. Like totally intense, crazy metallic grindcore shit. I listened to Inhale Exhale and it was amazing. Exactly what I needed. I also made the first reaction to my YouTube channel, Metal Album Reactions. Stop by sometime. Hey guys, Scott McCumber here. Metal Album Reactions. I actually got a few messages recently of people being like, hey, what if I started a reaction channel but for metal stuff? And I said, I think maybe in a live stream or in a bit of social media, I was like, I haven't heard of such a thing. Give it a shot. Give it a try. I've heard of some metal review channels out there. Haven't seen a whole lot of metal reactions. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of headbanging on your channel. Maybe you have long hair and you're just whipping it around. Maybe something like that, something along those lines. Let me know. Get it out there. Tweet it at me. Metal reactions. The Train. Thank you. Would you ever consider doing a charity event to allow a fan to pick an album for you to review or something of the sort. I think it would be a pretty cool idea. P.S. Please check out the new Tesseract album. I can't promise I'm going to check out the new Tesseract. I've never really kind of been big on them. But I'm not against the idea of doing charity events. Would this like be an online event? I imagine so. To allow a fan, would it like be an in-person event and then somebody who sort of raises the most money or something, they pick the album I review or something, and maybe we do a listening party or session or something right there, possibly. I mean, I guess maybe there's probably a bunch of different ways it could work, but I'm open to charity events. Hit me up, hit my line. Can you give us your thoughts on the band Cursive? Oh, Cursive, Ugly Organ. Especially their albums Domestica and The Ugly Organ. Domestica, I haven't listened to Cursive heavy since college. I remember Ugly Organ, and at the time, like when I was heavy into Bright Eyes and Apples in Stereo and Elephant Six stuff and more emo stuff, like Cursive was definitely one of those bands I dug quite a bit. However, I can't say that they're a group that I've returned to all that much. I mean, it's still like a pretty good album for that emo indie vibe that was doing pretty well in the 2000s. I mean, they're definitely not like as well groomed as like, some of the Saddle Creek bands or like, some of the other Saddle Creek bands and like Get Up Kids and that sort of shit. But, that's part of their appeal. Yeah, Cursive, I mean, they're okay. I'm not going to say they're like, they ever came out with like a 10 out of 10 or anything like that, but Ugly Organ's a solid record. What are your thoughts on the TDE Championship Tour? Sam McGuire asking, do I think they'll be able to evenly divide between the artists or will it just be Kendrick and others? I mean, hopefully look, SZA is like really coming up. She's doing really well for herself with like an audience that is totally independent from Kendrick. You know what I mean? So I think they'd really kind of be doing themselves a bit of a disservice if they didn't find a way to kind of work her in and have her sort of doing her own thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like it would kind of be, I don't know, putting a little bit too much on the shoulders of Kendrick to basically be throwing him out onto the stage every night and basically just have everybody else kind of appearing throughout the set or something like that. You know what I mean? Like everybody should have like a little bit of their own set, and then maybe there should be a point where they all kind of come out and perform. That would be like the most epic thing, kind of build up to that group collaborative performance kind of vibe. Just be Kendrick and others. I hope it doesn't end up being that. I myself haven't looked into tickets yet. But I've seen the posters and it does look interesting. Tony, Sonny Torres. Oh, and Sam, thank you. Sonny Torres, thank you. Ow, 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 ow. Let's see. Thanks for all the great content. What BS do you think Kanye will say in the Charlemagne interview when asked about Trump? I think Kanye's just going to double down on everything that he said and has been saying, honestly. But I think he's going to lean a little bit harder on the whole, hey, it's just about love. I'm all about love. This is just about love, man. I'm trying to love people who you're not supposed to love and so on and so forth. I'm trying to break the conditioning. I honestly, because the reason he's going in that direction is because he knows he can only push the Trump love thing so far without it like literally ruining his career. He can push those buttons, and get people riled up and get people pissed and get everybody paying attention to him. But he has to make it look like there's some kind of greater purpose or sort of like goal here to sort of saying what he said in order for people to sort of like get on board with it. You know what I mean? So I think Kanye, he's going to double down on what he's been saying, but he's going to make it sound like some hippie shit and, clarify again, I don't have to like everything someone does to love them or blah, 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 blah. Just like he's been saying on Twitter, but I think he'll probably build beyond that, clarify a little bit more, and then he'll try to figure out some other kind of way to say some zany bullshit that, of course, is going to make headlines as well. And finally, I think that's pretty much going to be the plan of the whole thing, unless Charlemagne legit kind of steps in there and really kind of confronts him and just like calls the bullshit or tries to challenge him hardcore, which, I mean, he has done in the past. So, I think Charlemagne is a bit of an X factor. I think that's going to be Kanye's plan, but Charlemagne could really kind of, be a shock to the system and throw him off his game if he asks him a question he's uncomfortable with. Take My Money, Meatless Melon. Could I get a top 3 Converge albums, individual tracks? Thanks. Top ones, I think, are probably, I would say, Jane Doe, Axe to Fall, and All We Love. And tracks, not off the top of my head, but those are probably my top 3 favorites. Axe to Fall has grown on me quite a bit lately. And Mamba, thank you. Is that Mac tonight? Hell yeah, it is. Blue M&M, thank you. Tame Impala Currents B-Sides, have I listened? If not, check them out. I did. Didn't I do a little EP review, or didn't I do like a Why You Know review of it? It was okay. It didn't blow me away or nothing, but yeah, the EP was all right. Little B-Sides EP. I think I shouted out a track from it in a Best Worst Tracks video too. Dylan Dumont, thank you. Perfume Genius has been my favorite artist for quite a while now. I just wanted to know your overall thoughts on him and your favorite album of his. Mine is Too Bright, Much Love. I think it's either, let's say, it's either Your Back or it's his new one. Put Your Back Into It. And it might still be Put Your Back Into It. I think Mike is great. Mike's a great songwriter, very interesting singer. He's not a traditionally great singer. His vocals are very odd, but in a good way. His voice, his singing is just very emotionally potent and strange and eerie and excuse me, gorgeous, and just like the emotional potency of his performances are just intense. I can't say enough nice things about Mike. He's just like a talent, and there's just so many great songs and sounds on his new record. You guys already know I listed it as one of the best albums of the year. So check out Perfume Genius if you haven't already. Great stuff. Adrian, thank you. Hey, Anthony, just a quick question. Some words on Ye, as hard as it may be. Give a prediction on the sound of Ye's new album. Also, have I heard Snail Mail? And if so, thoughts? I have not heard Snail Mail. Did you guys hear that video clip that he had? It's posted up on TMZ, and he's like, "When I'm here, it's a lituation. It's a lituation." Honestly, I think, I really think at this point he could go more experimental. I think he could go further off the rails stylistically. I think he could kind of do like a T-Lot Part 2 at this point, because I think mentally, and I think, I don't know, as far as the point that he is in right now in life, it's not all that much different than it was on T-Lop. I think he's probably grown further and more deeply and more intimately into his roles as a husband and a father. And simultaneously, I think his public persona is growing even more erratic. He's giving even less of a fuck. He's bucking even more conventions. He's going against the grain even harder. Kanye has gone against the grain before, plenty of times, and has taken lots of heat from the media over the course of his career. I'm not going to say that what he's doing right now is unique, but it certainly feels different because, for him to sort of do it in a fashion that's almost political, I feel like almost gives it kind of like a new life, or it makes it seem like it's sort of like a new frontier or something for him. I think the music, I think the album is going to get even crazier, so I would say watch out. I think Yeezus, I think T-Lop, I think we're just starting to see the tip of the iceberg as far as weird Kanye. I don't think he's going to go back and just make a pop record like Graduation. You know what I mean? I think he's probably going to get weirder, more idiosyncratic, and potentially more abrasive. Not so abrasive it's like Death Grips. I think Kanye is always going to have a foot in the world of pop rap, but I think it could get weirder. I think it could get stranger. So let's go on to the next one. Hey Anthony, thank you Jorge. Do I think Radiohead has the potential to bring back rock music with their next album in the way that Neil Young's Ragged Glory brought back rock and roll with the grunge sound? Neil was pretty late in his life when he had to come out with that record. don't know. I mean, look, do I think that, I kind of talked about this a little bit in the new Let's Argue that's not out yet. You know, as much as we like to put these particular waves of music and music movements on the shoulders of particular artists that make particular albums at particular times, certainly that's important. It's necessary for that to occur in order for these waves to happen. As much responsibility and ownership of that we like to put on the shoulders of these artists and these albums, at the end of the day, the most important thing, the thing that is the most necessary in order for a wave or a change or a movement to happen is an audience. You need an audience. If there's not an audience of people, they're willing to take it, listen to it, buy it, take it somewhere, show up to the shows, recommend it to their friends, make it a part of their lives. If there isn't an audience for it, it's not going to go anywhere. So even if Radiohead does come out with one of the greatest rock albums of all time, next record, will the audience be willing to take it? Will the audience be willing to take that and turn it into a wave that sort of turns the tide around for the entire genre? As of right now, I feel like rock music doesn't have a whole lot to offer this new generation. You know, not to say that rock music's tank is empty or that it's not creative anymore, but I feel like this new generation, the people who are big fans of Lil Pump, the people who are big fans of Kendrick, the people who are looking for a Lil Tay mixtape, I don't think there's anything a rock band can really offer them right now. You know what I mean? And these are the people, honestly, that if you want to listen, young people dictate the new wave of music, and rock music is not really the wave that a lot of young people are on right now. So even if Radiohead does come out with some great stuff, is that what I can't even predict that tide is going to shift, because I don't think the audience is necessarily there for it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously people are going to come out and buy a new Radiohead album. You know, people love Radiohead. But are they going to come out with a record that transcends their fan base and shocks an entire generation of millennials and beyond into listening to an entirely different style of music than they've been hyping up for the past, decade almost? No, probably not. But thank you very much for that brain tickler. What are your thoughts on No Means No? Definitely one of the better punk bands out there, and one of the better bands on Alternative Tentacles Records, if I am correct on that. I'm pretty sure they're on that record label. They're definitely more eccentric than your average punk band, although I've never gotten crazy deep into them myself. Wrong and Small Parts Isolated and Destroyed are incredible albums. No, they most definitely are. Those albums get recommended to hell when it comes to No Means No. And again, if you are looking for some good punk bands with a lot of personality, do check out No Means No and also the Alternative Tentacles label. Thank you very much, D. I feel like you don't pay enough attention to Los Campesinos. Do they not interest you? If they do, what's your favorite project of theirs? Honestly, I thought their last record was pretty decent, if not just sounding like an average Los Camp record. But really, when they were at their peak of popularity and they were kind of like a Pitchfork darling band, I honestly thought that's when they were coming out with their least interesting stuff, to be honest. Maybe they're just a little too twee. Maybe they're just a little bit too cutesy for me. I don't entirely know what the issue is, but last record was decent, but they're just not a band that sticks out to me that much, I guess. They got a lot of heart, though. They got a lot of heart. Whoever sent this in, thank you. DJ Star. Hey Anthony, what are some of your thoughts? What are some of your thoughts on the up and coming rap group Soggy Boys? I feel like they have a lot of viral potential. They talk about a lot of millennial issues in their songs. I've never heard of Soggy Boys, but I suppose that's an interesting name. And these days, with the millennial generation, it's all about the memes. And I guess if you're dropping some dank memes in your songs, then it might work. Soggy Boys. Now, not to be confused with the Soggy Bottom Boys, of course. I'm a man of constant sorrow. Ooh. Make sure to watch that movie if you haven't. You need to review more death metal and jazz, Yo Melonhead. You're absolutely right. I do need to review more death metal and jazz. I do have some more jazz records coming down the pipe. Some more jazz records I'm planning on reviewing over the coming weeks. So they're on deck. So just be patient with me. I'm definitely trying to review more jazz this year. But thank you very much for the support and your concern, Martin. Let's see. Joseph says, and thank you for supporting. To start off, I hate Lamb of God. I think they suck, but I'd love to know your opinion on their Burn the Priest album. Oh God. Wait a second. I think it's good, and I'd love to discover good material from bands I like. I vaguely remember that record in college. And this is... Yes, oh my God, this is such a blast from my past. I vaguely remember this record in college because it was just like such a macho, like, Urgh. I remember I'd like do a death growl if my friends would be like, burn the priest because it's a law, to kind of like make fun of that record a little bit. It's a little overboard. That record's a little overboard. It's a little edgy. The 1999 album. God, yeah, I forgot Randy had anything to do with that. What a weird band to sort of separate off into, but whatever. Oh my God, they have a new record coming out this year, Legion XX. It's been like 20 years since they came out with an album. What is going on here? All right, we're it's whatever. We're moving on. Burn the Priest. I wouldn't say I hate Lamb of God, though. As far as metalcore goes, they're a little generic, but Randy has some good taste as far as other bands go. He's always recommending and sort of like propping up some good bands. He's always supporting some good bands out there. He loves Code Orange, and they're a very good band. So he's got good taste. I can't knock him for the taste. Come on. Oh, here we go. Have I checked out any BH solo material? Brockhampton, I imagine, outside. I've checked out a little bit of it when I was listening to the first Saturation. I was like checking out some of the YouTube videos and like SoundCloud uploads and Bandcamp stuff that they had floating around, and some of it was pretty good. Nothing that I got into so much that I would say I'm like crazy about it, but obviously there was talent there. Also, do you think it would be smart for them to continue only group material or also solo material? I think for right now, Brockhampton should stay in group mode. I mean, I think eventually there will come a time when solo material makes sense, but as of right now, I think it should all be group mode. It should be group mode. Hey, I really like well-produced rap records like Clipping, Money Store, and Floss. What recommendations would you have in terms of those types of records? Danny Brown, Atrocity Exhibition. That record is excellently produced. Killer Mike Rap Music. That one is excellently produced as well. I'll sort of throw those out there. Yeah, I'll say that. Hey, says Brett. Thank you very much. I was wondering if you'd seen the music doc Standing in the Shadows of Motown about the studio group for Motown Records. I think you'd really dig it. Talk about a group that gets no credit. That sounds interesting. I imagine you're probably talking about like the studio musicians who probably played on all the tracks, which, if that is the case, there's a similar documentary about the world-class Wrecking Crew, who was essentially the studio musicians who played on all of the, the West Coast stuff, all of the Sunshine Pop, a lot of the, there were like Sinatra records they played on. They played on Pet Sounds. But yeah, there were a lot of studio musicians back in the day in the 60s and 70s who, like, they just worked those people like dogs, and they were just like in the fucking studio every day, all hours of the day, just like totally just playing these songs so that they could have these musicians singing on top of them. And, it's just funny that that's how they used to do it back in the day. These days, like, it's all about like, oh, the producers, it's, the producers, they're the ones ruining music because they hand over good music to crap artists or artists who don't know how to play or artists who don't know how to write. But back in the day, like, it kind of wasn't that much different, considering that, you see all these studio session documentaries where, yeah, like, these people didn't play shit on the record. We, the studio musicians, played all of the album. And honestly, like, it makes sense because that was the most efficient way to do it. Because, look, it's hard to be in a band and be a performer and be going to interviews and always be so well-oiled that you're just like a good performer as well, and also be performing well in the studio, which honestly, versus the live set, is a very different setting, very different set of demands. And to sort of have that group of people together in the studio all the time, like the Wrecking Crew, like, was the most smart and efficient and effective way of getting it done, because that group of people knew how to play together, knew how to play off of one another, were used to hearing each other and listening to each other playing. So it was just easier for them to kind of work these things out on their own, instead of just like trying to hit the reset button every single time you bring a new band in who may not be prepared or ready for the studio setting, which again, it's an entirely different set of demands from the live setting and just kind of, writing and performing and playing and creating songs together in sort of like an intimate setting. So I get why they did it, Let's move on from here. Stephen Hami, thank you. Hey, do people send you music to listen/give feedback? I would love to send you my music. People do send me their music to try out through the online portal on the website, but I do not do feedback typically. Like, it's not, really anything I want to do, just like tear up somebody's album over email. Really, if you want some good recommendations and thoughts on your music, you should probably hand it over to a producer or somebody who does, production or something like that. And get their recommendations on maybe how you could improve your sound or anything like that. However, if you do feel like your music or what you're making is professional grade and just as good as anything out there that's getting signed to a label, then you can certainly submit, and, I could potentially give it a try and sort of see if it's, worth kind of tweeting out or, sort of sharing and putting on the website or something like that. But, if I don't dig it, I don't dig it. Let's see. You constantly negate bands that have gained attention from Pitchfork, Waves, Los Campesinos just now, and there are bands that I have thought have made some great stuff. Are you biased towards Pitchfork? I think I guess you're maybe trying to say, am I biased against Pitchfork? But I mean, there are plenty of bands that they have reviewed positively and sort of helped put on the map that I've given positive reviews to, like Fleet Foxes, Grizzly Bear. This is just a really bad comment. Like, Waves and Los Campesinos aren't the only two bands that Pitchfork have put on. I'm just not really all that big into Waves and Los Campesinos. I mean, I think you might have a point here if you could take Waves and Los Campesinos and then point at 1,000,001 bands that I have reviewed positively that sound exactly like Waves and Los Campesinos. Like, hey, Anthony's really into this sound, but for whatever reason, these same bands that have these same sounds that get positive reviews on Pitchfork, he doesn't even like them. I mean, honestly, these days, I don't even have a chance to read or look at Pitchfork. Like, and since I purposefully try to avoid any and all reviews before I've done my own review of a record, like, I don't even have time to keep track of who's given something a positive review, who's given something a negative review, who said this about a record, who said that about a record. Like, I don't have time to look at fucking Pitchfork anymore. Plus, at the end of the day, like, there's literally no point of me looking at Pitchfork, even if I want to hear about new music, because I'm on a lot of the same email lists that they are these days. So, I mean, if they're getting promos for the new Waves album, I'm getting promos for the new Waves album. If they're getting promos for the new, like, let's say, the new Angel Olsen album, I'm getting promos for the new Angel Olsen album. So, there's really no reason for me to go look at what's going on Pitchfork or really any other kind of music site, unless, there's specific sites that I trust because they have very niche tastes in particular genres and they're uncovering stuff that other sites aren't talking about. You know what I mean? Sort of like a No Clean Singing or something like that. So, yeah, I don't even have time to keep track of who is what critically darling band from whatever website anymore. You know, I mean, if I don't really care that much about Los Campesinos, it's because I never really cared about them, period. And I don't know, I've never been crazy about that sound. And I don't know, man, that sounds kind of dead right now. So, I mean, I guess I don't get the demand. Kurt, thank you. Fire glasses, Anthony. Speaking of fire, what did I think of Fubibier's new EP? I did not hear that EP at all. But I'm glad that you like my glasses. But I did not... I saw you shout them out on Twitter a while back. If I shouted them out, did I hear that EP? Well, I mean, I probably didn't hear that new EP. I might have shouted them out. All a hoax? Yeah, I haven't heard that that EP. So I don't know. I've saved it here. I guess I'll see if it tickles my fancy later when I get a chance, when I get an opportunity. But hey, man, I got to make some time and listen to that new Panopticon record, because that record could be amazing. Hey, Pink than the Eye Tano. Jude, thank you. What's my favorite Eminem album? Also, how did I propose to your wife? I don't even want to tell you that because I'm like the most unromantic person ever. And I think it kind of goes down to also what my wife said in that interview, or not in the interview, but in the podcast that we did together, where she was talking about, you know, I just wake up loving you. I go to sleep loving you, which, you know, thinking about that, it makes me want to cry. But it's just very kind of that, you know, we're just like in fucking love all the time. And, you know, there doesn't really seem to be any point of any grand gesture or anything. Eminem lately, I still kind of like want to say Marshall Mathers LP2 because it's sort of deemed as the classic or the more epic record or the more ambitious record. But, you know, these days I think my immaturity is getting the best of me, and I really kind of like the Slim Shady LP the most. The Slash, 1411. What is my opinion on Sigur Rós? Also, Jenny Haval is pronounced with the H. Love from Norway, Anthony. Without the H. Oh, okay. Jenny Val. Okay, thank you. No one's ever told me that, and I don't pronounce anything correctly. So, well, my friend Juan is texting me. But anyway, God, I didn't even know that. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person. I feel awful when I mispronounce people's names, but there's no name resource for me to go to for everyone's name. And I wish that press releases would just have proper pronunciations for people's names, but they don't, because, you know, most of the time they're like, they're just going to type it. Nobody's going to say it, but whatever. My opinion on Sigur Rós. Very good band, very consistent band, one of the best and most creative in post-rock. I would actually say that idiosyncratic in the post-rock genre. There's not many post-rock bands that have their sound. I wish that their recent stuff was a little bit darker or more adventurous, but man, they had some pretty creative, ambitious, and just like out there records in the past. I mean, it almost feels kind of unfair to just kind of label them as post-rock, because really kind of they are, I think they transcend that genre entirely and are more of just like a generally experimental rock band. Finn Callan, thank you very much. Hypothetical scenario, Hollywood are making a biopic about you. What actor would play Antoine Fantoine? Also, much love. Bring TND to the UK. I want to give you a massive hug for making such great content. Who should play me? Who should play me? I don't know. I think I just want Tom Hardy to play me, honestly. I really want Tom Hardy to play me. And I want him to get super buff for the role. Just get real fucking steroided out. You know, veins popping and everything for no reason whatsoever. You know, just because. And just portray me as a total psychopath for no reason. Alejandro, thank you. We saw it happen with U2, Green Day, Daft Punk, etc., which begs the question, is there any band that's maybe in a lull right now that you think will make an insanely successful comeback? Oh, good question. Band that's in a lull and will make a comeback. Insanely successful comeback. Honestly, I would love to see it be Weezer. I would love to see Weezer just come out with the greatest Pinkerton, like style record ever, or maybe like a Yo La Tengo, who I think are in a bit of a lull at the moment. Quite literally, with their new record being almost an ambient album. Let's see who else. Who else would be great? I would love to see I would love to see Nickelback come back with the greatest comeback album ever made. Have they stopped making music? I have no idea. They probably keep making music. But I would love to see Nickelback come out with a record that just makes everybody turn their fucking heads and is like, what? What? Oh, you know what? You know who I want to come out with a great comeback record? Fucking Sun, man. Sun. Because it's been so long since they've had a studio album. You know what I mean? I want Sun to make an insanely successful comeback record. Oh, come on, man. I should check out Valeria the Crossing. Power, death metal, skate, punk, prog. What? That sounds like a million things. That's intriguing, though. So, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Oh, come on. There we go. Hey, it's Mateus. Thank you. Hi, Melon. Do I feel sometimes anguished for the immense amount of music that is out there and all the personal limitations to listening to it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But honestly, listen, if I didn't have to, if I didn't have to edit videos, go over videos, if I didn't have to make content, I would have so much more time to listen to music. I listen to a lot of music with my job, but I guess if this wasn't my job, I would have another job and not quite as much time to listen to music. So I guess you kind of give and take, but yeah, sometimes it does suck not to have as much time to listen to music personally. It just kind of is what it is. I feel like there is, obviously a negative value to that, but there's also a positive value to the fact that I've been able to make music my career in a way. So, that's really nice and fulfilling. Daniel Streams, thank you very much, Daniel. Did you tweet at me lately, or did I see a comment that you tweeted or something, or respond to you? I can't remember. Hey Melon, what did I think of the Black Panther movie? And am I excited for Infinity War? I wouldn't say I'm excited for Infinity War right now. I'm excited for the new Deadpool movie. And the Black Panther movie, I have talked about it, I think, in a previous live stream or something, but I'm not going to make you dig for that because I can't remember when. Generally, I thought the movie was good. I like Killmonger. I like that he was a villain you could kind of sympathize with. I kind of like the moral conundrums presented in the film. CGI was a little off, but Black Panther, himself as a hero, as a character, I thought was portrayed really well. I thought the movie was really fun and thrilling. It was just a quality comic book movie, and honestly, I feel like that's one of the successes of the film, because prior it was common knowledge in Hollywood that you couldn't have an all-black film, you couldn't have an all-black cast and have it be successful and have it transcend the racial boundary and da-da-da-da-da. And yet, this proved that is just kind of bullshit in this current day and age after this paradigm shift. And, and most people are pretty happy with the movie. It's pretty close to the source material as well, So, again, as far as comic book movies go, I think it's a pretty good one. Hi, Tony. Can you say something about Mogwai and post-rock now in general? But before I go into that, I wanted to say, I can't remember what it... I can't remember what it was. I made a joke with my wife the other day, and I was just like, Vibranium. And it was, we were just like laughing our asses off. But, it's a good movie. And the Vibranium thing is a pretty good meme, if you could work it in. Raymond Quebec. Hey, Anthony, can you say something about Mogwai and post-rock in general? I mean, Mogwai is definitely one of the godfathers of the genre, but post-rock right now I think is kind of a little out of ideas. And not to say that means all the post-rock bands out there are out of ideas. I mean, certainly Swans, I think, was an important band in the genre, and they are still putting out some great stuff. Mogwai, while I may not love a lot of their newer material, they continue to push forward and evolve musically and artistically. They're not making the same shit that they were during Young Team and Happy Music and so on and so forth. So they continue to push forward and try different things. But like post-rock in general, I think it's kind of run out of gas in the tank, honestly. And I feel like part of the reason that is because, you know, you look back to bands like, or not rather bands, or you look back to an era where you had bands like Talk Talk and Fridge and Godspeed. And I don't know, it seemed like at one point there was less consensus on what exactly the genre is, you know what I mean? And then when you got to a point where post-rock was basically whatever the fuck sounded like explosions in the sky, then you essentially had like, okay, well now the genre is this super niche, super predictable, super sort of focused, limited thing. So with the fans and the artists kind of collectively hopping on that sound, it's almost like they painted the genre into a corner. I think if post-rock is going to continue, it needs to figure out a way to stay true to its roots while simultaneously evolving and trying different things and kind of getting away from, you know, some of these explosions in the sky-esque sounds. Thoughts on the miseducation of Lauryn Hill 20th anniversary tour? I know she's notorious for showing up late. I mean, honestly, like I'm not really against the idea of altering the instrumentals to the point where it's practically unrecognizable. I mean, Deerhoof was just doing that during a recent live show where I caught them, and it was great. You know, unless the performance is bad, you want a good performance. But you know, altering the instrumentals, changing it up, providing the audience something new, I don't think is a bad thing. I think that makes the live set exciting. You know, I mean, I feel like it's kind of unfair and ridiculous for the audience to expect Lauryn to just come through and just play the hits, you know, like it's an old album, you're an old artist, just play the hits, you know what I mean? Like I know her discography is limited, but I think she's still a creator, a creative who is, you know, worthy of attention and the respect to, you know, take her own creative work and reinvent it or do something different with it. But you know, it does suck if she doesn't show up. So, you know, hopefully she does show up for that shit on time. For as revered as Neil Young or Michael Stipe are, I never ever heard them sing one note in tune ever. Am I right or am I tone deaf? I think Michael Stipe is a bit more on point as far as pitch. Neil Young, though, you know, it's folk music. There's a lot of folk music out there that is not necessarily very well sung. Like, was Woody Guthrie like a killer vocalist? No, not really. But the thing is, like with folk music, it's all about the emotion. It's all about the storytelling. It's all about the narrative. It's all about what you're trying to communicate directly to the audience as far as like, you know, message or tale. So, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, Bob Dylan is an odd singer as well, you know, when you think about it. You know, I can appreciate some amateurish singing, you know what I mean? Because for me, singing is really more about conveying human emotion and the human experience than it is about just singing on key all the time or, you know, having perfect pitch. Favorite ELO album? Oh man, I love me some Jeff Flynn. He's a lovely, or Jeff Lynne rather. He's a lovely man, but I don't know what my favorite ELO album is. Out of the Blue Man myself, I mean, that one's decent. Discovery and New World are probably 2 and 3 for me. Yeah, ELO, they're a precious band. They're a precious band. Am I into Rex Orange County? He has grown on me a little bit lately. I love XXX, and all of you people are hating on him for disliking X dumb as hell. He has taste in music, and X doesn't fit those get taste over it. Are you talking? Okay, yeah, all right. Hating him. I love all you people are hating him over. Are you talking about me? Are you talking about people hating me for disliking XXX Tentacion? But I mean, yeah, okay. I hear what you're saying. But yeah, he's grown on me a lot lately. You know, I think he has some nice, soulful white boy tunes and, you know, some cute guitar licks. And, I probably should have reviewed his last record. I regret that. Have not covered that. Hey, Anthony, do you think your review scores should be included on Metacritic, or do you not care? Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just as legit a music publication or a music reviewer as any other publication that's up on Metacritic. I would like that, but, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it at this point. Maybe the day will come. Who the hell knows? Do I listen to music to sleep? No, never. Not at all. Never. And mostly because music just gets my mind moving and stimulates me, so I can't focus on sleeping. I can't shut my brain off to sleep if music is playing. So, no, I don't listen to nothing to sleep. It's just too distracting for me personally. But Joey, thank you. Wait, what is this person saying? My power just went out. Please apologize. I'm sorry. Did I make your power go out? Did I do that? I'm sorry. Hey, Melon, thoughts on Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life? It's definitely one of the better kind of dark, gothy, post-punky, and shoegaze records out there. What's actually kind of impressive about that album is that Dan and company managed to pull so many genres together into one record and have them come together pretty seamlessly. I'm always impressed about a record that can either do that, or an artist can bring together a bunch of genres and do them all really well, like Primal Scream, Screamadelica. Now, obviously, the Death Consciousness is a very different vibe, but it is an amazing record. It is a good record, and that record is totally just like, I'm all about the potential power of music in my home state, because that's always a good home state album to look at and reference toward. And I'm glad that there's so many people who enjoy it and listen to it. Let's see. Beast Sauce. Hey, Antoine Fantoine, newish subscriber. Thoughts on Alice in Chains? Chance on a retro review like Nirvana. I did do a Nirvana retro review a while back. Maybe I could review Dirt. Alice in Chains, the thing about Alice in Chains that I've always thought was really great when I was a kid is that as far as like guitar tone and guitar style, like no other band sounded like them. There were some bands copying their shit for sure. But as far as just like the guitar tone, the sound they were getting out of those guitars on those records, like especially the hits, like nobody was sounding like that. It was just kind of really the key to their sound, honestly. Again, I apologize for the power going out. I apologize. Osir, thank you. Or Osire, thank you. I love your work, Melonhead. Do me a favor and give the new Beach House album an 8 out of 10. Hey, listen, the new Beach House album might be good because every single track I'm hearing so far sounds experimental as fuck. And that, I think, is what has been long overdue for Beach House. Long overdue. So it could be great. Logan, thank you. Get on the H3H3 podcast. Thank you, Clint. Will I be using this $5 to do it? I'm going to hand this $5 over to Ethan, and I'll get on there. He said there's a $5 surcharge, and I haven't been able to afford it up until now. Thank you. Worst to best Wu-Tang members. Okay, off the top of my head, let's see. I'm just probably gonna name like my top 5 favorite Wu-Tang members. I'll probably just leave it at that because orienting them all would take too long. I'm probably gonna go like I'm probably gonna go like okay, I'm gonna say Ghostface Killah. Excuse me. RZA, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, Jizza, and Raekwon. Those are probably my favorites, just off the top of my head. The top ones for me, top faves for me. Like I know for some people like ODB ranking a little high is kind of fucked, but I think ODB is amazing. And GFK is my fave for life. Thoughts on shoegaze and / IDM fusion band Seafeel? I'm not familiar with them, but confusing elements of shoegaze and IDM sounds like an excellent idea to me. And I don't know why I'm not running across more groups doing it, honestly. Do I ever listen to any musicals? If so, which ones? Ever thought of reviewing one? I'm not much for musicals myself. So I can't comment on too many musicals off the top of my head, especially since I've been talking for an hour and I'm kind of just slightly burnt out mentally. I know there are some musicals out there that I enjoy casually, but again, I'm not much of a musical critic and I'm not much of a musical connoisseur. You know what I mean? You know, Sondheim and all that stuff. I'm totally clueless when it comes to all of it. So, and I honestly, part of the reason that is I don't really get too much from musicals, you know? Yeah, I guess I just don't. You know, I don't hate them, but, you know, they're not really my preferred musical medium, I guess. But after this, I'm probably going to regret having said this because there's probably a few musicals out there that I could name in a better mind state that I think are amazing. But as of right now, I can't really name any. So I guess that probably tells you how much I care about musicals. Why did churches become Imagine Dragons? Because they ran out of ideas. And that's probably what their fans want. Thank you, Matt. Ethan Young. I love Trippie Redd. He's my favorite rapper / singer. Right now, what's your overall opinion of him? Also, have I heard the songs Wish, Uka Uka, and Tricks 6666? And if so, what I think of them? I did not hear those songs, but I think Trippie Redd, as far as like this new wave of rappers / singers goes, I think he has a lot of potential. And I think the only thing that's kind of preventing him from that is that his albums and mixtapes so far are just kind of a little either inconsistent or redundant at points. I don't know if he has it in him to sort of like craft an album, and I don't know if that's really what his fans want from him anyway, since you know, him and a lot of other people are kind of on that same are on that same wave, or more single artists. But you know, I think he has a unique voice, and I think he has a style that sticks out. So hopefully he keeps at it and drops a new project soon. Hey Fantana Log, how much does the order of Anne matter to you? How much does the order of Anne matter to you? I don't know what you're asking me, 12. I don't know what you're asking me. Why is poptimism now the dominant trend in independent music as opposed to, say, 20 years ago? I think probably because there was more of a separation between the underground and the mainstream. Now that the underground and the mainstream lines have been blurred by the internet, you have pop going on in the underground, you have pop going on in the mainstream. And, you know, hey, there's still no shortage of, you know, cool underground rock stuff and cool underground, you know, experimental stuff and metal music too. But I think, honestly, what opened up the floodgates is that you have kind of influences going back and forth. It's more of a two-way street, as opposed to before there was more of a wall of separation between what was going on in the shadows and what was going on, you know, in the upper echelons of record labels like EMI and Atlantic and that sort of thing. Josh Taylor asks, what are my thoughts on bands like Pale Waves and Boy Pablo pushing this new wave of pop? Also, rock is dead, but metal, prog, and gent is alive. Yeah, I think metal is still very much alive, especially stuff like prog and gent. And part of the reason that is metal music is so insular. Metal doesn't really give a fuck what's going on outside of metal. You know what I mean? Whereas I think rock, with being as mainstream a genre as it was for quite a long period of time, I don't think fans and artists in the genre really understood or anticipated just how much the genre was dependent on that mainstream claim and fame in order to, I guess, continue to see success. You know, but I guess it's sort of become apparent that it was very pivotal to the genre's health. Now, as far as like Boy Pablo and Pale Waves, I haven't heard much of Boy Pablo. I sort of wonder if that's like a slight reference to Culture Club, though. But you know, I could be wrong. But to get back to the Pale Waves thing, I don't know. Pale Waves, I just find their music kind of bland. Like, they look like super goth. Like, I'm gonna hear some interesting, like, dark, cool goth music, but they just kind of sound like average reverb pop rock. I don't know. I just don't really have much to say about their stuff. I just find it very average. You know, I've heard their tracks, and I've seen some videos of live performance as well, and it just seems like very so-so, very bland, very kind of unambitious. Yo, Pinktony Floyd Tano, if Daft Punk were to tour right now, what's your prediction on the stage setup set list? Oh, I have no idea. I have no clue. I've never even seen Daft Punk live, so I couldn't even begin to guess. So, I mean, I really have no clue. I really have no clue, Brandon, but thank you for supporting. I'd have no idea. I'm sure it would kick fucking ass, though. Have I heard Electric Lucifer by Bruce Hack yet? No, I have not. I recommended it the last stream. Change your Twitter avatar, man. What? I like my Twitter avatar. Okay, I probably should change it. No, I haven't. I probably saved it, but I have not heard it yet. I'm going to save it again. Okay, yes, I did save this one, but I have not heard it. I haven't heard much of anything that was recommended during the last one because I have been having a very busy week, so I apologize about that. If I like singer-songwriter music in the same retro romantic vein as Alex Cameron, look up Jack Ladder and his new singles. Yes, Jack Ladder's new album is out now on Terrible Records. And I have heard a little bit of it. I wasn't like super crazy about it, but it is dance. Excuse me, mind fart there. It is decent, and I actually find that recommendation be on point. And when Alex was writing songs for his new album, like Jack was actually in on some of that, according to what Alex was saying on stage, because Jack plays guitar in his band. So, if you are into Alex Cameron, there are a lot of deep and intimate musical connections between him and Jack Ladder. So, and again, his new album is out on Terrible Records. So if you're into Alex Cameron, if that's kind of the vibe that you're into, definitely look up that new Jack Ladder record. When do you think Yachts will release? Year of the Snitch. Maybe May or June. Is the hype getting stale? Kind of is for me. I think the hype is getting stale right now, but I feel like that's because Death Grips hasn't done anything. Maybe if they drop a single, maybe if they do something weird, maybe if they endorse Donald Trump, I don't know. I feel like they have to do something else in order to get the fans excited again. You know what I mean? So I feel like at this point they need to throw the bands another bone, something a little more substantial than like, hey, Death Grips is online, something a little bit more substantial than that, to sort of get the fires and flames stoked again. If they're going to string this out any longer, but if they're not, then just drop the frickin' album, is what I say. Let's see. Cameron says, pretty bummed you didn't do a full review of The Garden's Mirror Might Steal Your Charm. What are some of the things you liked and disliked? Also, when are we going to see you chow down on some vegan wings on Hot Ones? Maybe soon, I hope, Cameron. Thank you for supporting. And as far as The Mirror Might Steal Your Charm record, yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to review that too, but I just ended up not really digging it all that much. I kind of liked the eccentricity of it, and there were some pretty cool fusions of rock and pop and hip hop on there. It was really zany. It was really out there. There was really some clear Devo influence on there too that I thought was really cool. But at the end of the day, I just found the songs like kind of obnoxious, and I thought that like, man, this is like, again, kind of like with the last record. It's really out there. I feel like I should like this more than I do, but at the end of the day, it just kind of sounds like I'm listening to a junkyard pile of just like stuff that isn't really coming together all that well. Again, it's really zany. It's really out there. It's really freaky, but it just wasn't really adding up to too much for me, outside of just like weirdness as an aesthetic. You know what I mean? It's not a terrible record, but honestly, it wasn't the moment of the band kind of coming into their own that I hoped it would be, or that I thought it was going to be. What are my thoughts on the Russ/Metro Boomin produced situation? From what I understand and what I've seen, it's not really a situation. It's really just kind of Russ being shot down again by the hip hop community because he keeps putting his foot in his mouth and saying dumb shit. And I don't know. It's just kind of is what it is. I mean, Metro said, sort of shot back at him like I think was necessary. I don't really think there's like a whole lot of point, not a whole lot of point, but a whole lot of, I guess, merit to what Russ was saying. Because like I was saying earlier in the live stream, at the end of the day, the audience is really what kind of demands that the artists make a certain type of sound. Because really out there on the internet today, You could literally find any kind of artist making any kind of sound, even sounds and styles of music you haven't even fucking conceived of yet are hiding in obscure, shadowy corners of Bandcamp and SoundCloud right now at this very moment. Shit that is going to probably blow your mind or you've never even thought of is probably hiding on those platforms somewhere. So, I mean, if the audience really wants like more deep, significant, Russ level shit, it's out there. They can hear it. It's there. But the thing is, like, the audience wants what the audience wants. And people like Metro Boomin are merely just entertaining the audience and giving them what they want, So it's like, why do you have such a problem with that? Why do you think producers are ruining things? Because they give the beats to bad artists. Whoa. Like, come on, man. If people like Metro Boomin aren't showing up with a beat, like, somebody else is just going to show up with a beat. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you really just like put it on, so you're going to shoot down some kid who, like, let's say, let's say tomorrow, every popular producer out there, Metro Boomin, Boy Wonder, they're just all like, I'm not working with trash artists no more. Well, that artist is just going to fucking find some random kid on fucking YouTube going Little Yachty type beat and, putting their beats up that way. And they're just going to work with that kid, and they're going to give that kid a check. So, what the, are you going to get mad at that kid too? Come on, dude, grow up. Just let people do what they're going to fucking do. Let's argue. Pink Flag by Wire is the best rock and roll record ever made. The Idiot by Iggy Pop is a close second. I don't know if I would name those number one and number two, but they're both excellent and entirely unique records. And Pink Flag was maybe my favorite punk album for a long time. Might still be my favorite punk album. It is a great record. I should probably try to find my old classic review of it and re-upload it. Script, but thank you very much, John. Script of The Bridge by the Chameleons is the greatest post-punk album of all time. You're probably right. Because honestly, right now, I'm tired of people acting like it's Unknown Pleasures, because I think there are more interesting post-punk records out there. Oh, let's see. Danny, and again, Gabe, thank you. And have I heard of the black metal / shoegaze hand Heretoire? I've not, so I cannot comment on that. I apologize, but Danny, thank you very much for supporting. But black metal and shoegaze is, are they an interesting band in that sound and in that style? In my opinion, black gaze is kind of like, I don't know, kind of run out of ideas. Are they doing anything new? What are my interests outside of music? Knitting, porn. I mean, I actually do like to watch porn and knit quite a bit. I also like to hit the gym. And I'm on a video game hiatus right now, but I'm waiting for the new Super Smash Brothers to come out so I could fucking smash somebody. Let's see. Let's argue. Doves should have been a bigger band than the massive pile of NYC overratedness. The Strokes and Doves have turned out to be better band than their overall discographies. I guess maybe you're right, because I have no clue the fuck the Doves are. Doves, Manchester. Are we okay? Yes, Lost Souls. I've never fucking heard this band ever. So, yeah, I guess you're probably right. They should have gotten more attention. Dream pop, Brit pop, indie rock, alternative rock. I'll have to give them a shot. There's probably tons of limeys in the comments right now going, "Oh, you ain't never heard no Doves. Oh, you fucking cunt." So, it's thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have you guys heard of Little T? He's laying down some rhymes. Sam Nicholas, thank you. Oi, Bill, I can pardon you. Do you remember Das Racist, fella? I remember Das Racist. The fucking Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. And Sit Down Man was pretty good. Hey, Melon, I agree that rock is in a very stagnant state right now, but I'm interested to know what would you like to hear in rock music as far as a revitalization of the genre is concerned? Honestly, I loved what the new Voids album was doing. I loved what the new Jack White album is doing. I loved what Dope Body was doing for the most part before they broke up. I really think what Swans is doing is cool. There are a lot of good rock bands out there still, in my opinion. There are still rock records that consistently rank, on my best of the year lists. Honestly, I think where rock is kind of waning is just in the mainstream. You know what I mean? I feel like there's still creative artists and bands out there, and I try to review them when I can. I've actually given quite a few positive reviews to rock records this year. I just talked about that new Andrew WK record that I thought was really good. So, again, at the end of the day, I think it's all just about the audience kind of taking to it or not. Anthony, what's the best song of the 90s and why is it hyper ballad? Is it hyper ballad? It is definitely one of the better 90s songs. Honestly, the best 90s song, the best 90s song, the best one is Sex and Candy by Marcy's Playground. That is the greatest song of the 90s. There's never been a greater song to come out of the 90s. Every other artist, okay, and you know what? And you know why that song is so great is because that's that band's only great song, okay? Sex and Candy, it's that band, it's Marcy Playground's only great song. And, honestly, that's what was good about the 90s. There were a lot of one-hit wonders. I think one-hit wonders are underrated. I think we need more one-hit. I think we need more one-hit wonders because, honestly, I feel like there are too many artists these days. They come out with one bad song and then they stick around. I miss the days where people had a bad viral song and then they went away, These days, it's all about you come out with a bad song and then I got to hear about you for the next 3 fucking years and it's just too much, Just make your one bad song and then leave, Make your one bad song and go bye-bye, It is that to me I feel like is a more effective, a more enjoyable method. So we need more one-hit wonders, to just kind of come and go real fast. Flagpole Sitta from Harvey Danger. Oh, God. I'm paranoid, somebody coming and get me. Leon, thank you. I love all of your content, even since 2010 changed how I engage with music. Thoughts on private property and the exploitation in capitalism? Resist series seems at odds with your usual progressive stances. I'm not at odds with capitalism in general. I don't hate capitalism in general. Capitalism is just, in my opinion, the freedom to exchange freely and openly on a financial marketplace. To me, it's not really capitalism's fault that we see corporations doing horrible things, that we see politicians doing horrible things. It's how ineffective our political system is. We literally have problems not because of capitalism, but because we literally don't regulate fucking anything. Okay. And listen, I'm not against capitalism. I think capitalism, but with restrictions is what makes sense. A market economy, but with rules, but with restrictions, and looking at certain things and taking the financial incentive structures out of those things if they don't make sense. Like, for example, utilities or roads, or in my opinion, the healthcare system, because if something is going to be based on whatever people are willing to pay for it, people will pay anything to stay the fuck alive. So of course you're going to see skyrocketing healthcare costs if you don't have the government stepping in and either negotiating, purchasing on behalf of the individual, or regulating in some kind of way, shape, or form. And obviously we're seeing other countries out there benefiting from those regulations and benefiting from having more regulated market economies. They have better education outcomes, better health outcomes, more upward economic mobility, better social safety nets, better infrastructure than we have. Our infrastructure in this country gets a grade of D. And you have tons of other countries out there with market economies, tons of European countries, tons of South American countries, Canada, fucking Canada. And they don't have the problems that we have. They're capitalist countries as well. They're capitalists too. But they don't have the problems that we have. And again, the reason for that is that we have literally legalize bribery with Citizens United, with fucking CPACs, with the ungodly amounts of money that can be handed over to politicians by way of, these dinners that they sponsor where, it's like you're not giving a politician more than $2,500, but you're inviting hundreds of people from this company to come to this gala and basically pay that much money per plate of food to be there and influence that person's policy. Like we basically allow the oligarchs in our country to run things. And if we fought for it and we understood it and we worked against it as a society and we had a bit more class consciousness, we could actively fight against it and prevent it from happening. But I'm not really sure if that is going to happen, honestly, because I feel like these same abuses of power could occur and have occurred under more left-wing systems. More authoritarian sort of influences are going to take hold if the public, whether the government is more right-wing, whether the government is more left-wing, aren't conscious of the abuses that are happening under their noses and whether or not they're actually willing to fight against them. I feel like a lot of people right now are just either too complacent, or if they are fighting, they're not worried about their financial futures. They're not worried about things like, a living wage or unionization. Instead, they're worried about, finding out how woke they can be by reading another BuzzFeed article or something. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm sorry I'm not a communist. I'm just not. So I apologize to anybody who's a filthy commie and will probably take to Twitter now saying, Anthony Fantano, capitalism, not communist, blah, 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 this, that. Centrist. Ooh, centrist. What a dirty word, especially when you put it in all caps with spaces. So, Will Brand, I know you're not a huge fan of The Weeknd, but do you like more dark R&B Weeknd or pop Weeknd? By the way, you need to look back at House of Balloons. I mean, I still really love Echoes of Silence. I don't know if you would say that's more pop Weeknd. Is it more dark Weeknd? I guess that's more on the darker spectrum. Although I think Abel's music generally is a little dark. But yeah, I don't prefer one over the other. I just kind of prefer that his songs are better. You know what I mean? Starboy, excellent song, but not always are his songs good. Yeah. Imp 824, thank you. I just wanted to support you for all the great content. So here's a dumb and consequential question. Pump It Up by Joe Budden or Pump It Up by Elvis Costello? Oh, it's got to be Joe Budden every day. Pump It Up by Joe Budden every day. I'm thinking Little Dicky is going to save hip hop. Save it from what? Save it from what? From what? Thoughts on MDC? I have no idea. Punk junk. I have no thoughts on MDC. I apologize, but thank you very much for supporting. Those kisses were for you. Staple gun. I'm in the Deep Cuts Discord server. Do you have a message that you want me to give them? Also, are you afraid that he is a better reviewer than you? No, I'm not afraid that Oliver is a better reviewer than me. Oliver is on his own wave. I don't really view Oliver as competition because I think he makes an entirely different type of video and has a totally different review style. Do I want to send a message? Tell everyone I said hi. Yeah, tell everyone I said hi. Hey, Anthony, did you see Brockhampton's episode on the React channel? No, I stopped watching the React channel since they tried to copyright reactions. But honestly, I think it's cool that the kids are taken to him. I think it's cool that the React channel is giving them shine. It's all good at the end of the day. Do I think Brockhampton has now become a mainstream act? I think they're approaching that. I mean, they just got signed by RCA. I think RCA is probably going to give them a major like epic push with their next record. And, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. ZR Metal Men. Thank you. Hey, Melon, I'm just here to ask you if there are any albums that you think were marketed on a lie. The ones who comes to mind are Woman or Just As Woman. Marketed on a lie. Good question. Marketed on a lie. Marketed on a lie. I mean, I have already said recently that I think Kanye's recent, actions on Twitter are sort of like an act of manipulation, which isn't exact outright lying, but I feel like it's slightly disingenuous. But an outright lie. I mean, I guess back in the day, what was the name of that band? This is, kind of going back, but, a few artists that I could think of. Milli Vanilli, who obviously their music was marketed on a lie because obviously the two artists, Milli and Vanilli, were not the ones singing the songs. And another group that I could think of, and I don't know how seriously people took this back in the day, were the Strangeloves, who were the originators of the song I Want Candy, who, if you look back into their past, like, they had all sorts of crazy fucking, like backstory, like lore behind the band to sort of make them seem more exotic and weird and out there than they actually were. But when in reality, they were just a bunch of, studio musicians coming out with kooky jungle rock music. And maybe in a way like Lana Del Rey's early stuff, because I feel like, that webcam video aesthetic with video games, it made her seem like way more obscure and independent than she actually was, which in reality, by that time, she was probably signed and already on the major label Fast Track and all that stuff. They definitely like made her seem like she was totally independent and coming out of the blue when she really wasn't. So I guess those are a few record label fibs, I mean, I think being an industry plant isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you try to make the artists look like, oh, they're independent, they're coming from the underground, that to me, I think is a bit of a fib. Nothing to ask says overrated, etc. Thank you very much for supporting. Just wanted to send you some dollars because I use ad block and haven't watched a single ad on your channel since the beginning of time. Go buy Cal something nice. Hey, you guys better be sending something in for that ad block. I don't even know what I would call it. Atoning for that ad block. Atone for your ad block sins, okay? Atone for those ad block sins. Either that or get a t-shirt. TheNeedleDrop.com/support. We have new shirts out. They're great. They're amazing. I would show you guys one, but I think I don't even think I have one. Oh, here's the t-shirt. Looking great, looking grand, looking fruity, looking all full and melon-like. TheNeedleDrop.com/support. Get a shirt. Get a damn shirt. All right. Why do I hate Cal's music so much? You can tell he puts a lot of effort into his music and has a great passion for it. Coinstar is a great fucking banger. Cal, his voice is dumb. He picks shit beats. He thinks his lyrics are funny when they're not. He's basically like Little Dicky, I'm Brain, like level of humor. He's an idiot. He's a fool. He's a moron. He's a dum-dum. He's a stupid, dumb, stupid. Will I ever make a top 10 albums ever video or something like that? No, I ain't gonna do that because they're 10 albums of all time. I don't believe in that shit. That's against my religion, honestly. However, what you can probably look forward to is very soon, obviously once the decade is about over, I'm going to be doing, like a top 100 albums of this fucking decade, which I'm pretty hyped for that, honestly. Like, that's going to be huge. That is going to be huge. To do the top 100 albums of this decade, it's going to be huge, guys. So I'm actually pretty pumped for that. I'm just thinking about how pumped I am for it. I'm pretty pumped for it. That's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And then maybe once I do that, I'll go back and I'll do like a 2000s one. Because, there's so many 90s lists and 80s lists and stuff, and I don't really feel like I have that much to add to a lot of them, But once I get that list done, I feel like I could do a 2000s list. I think I really could. But Dylan, thank you. Best choking victim song. Oh, crack, crack, steady, and you're ready to stop. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's my favorite. Crack, crack, steady. That's my favorite choking victim song. What do I look for in album cover art? Lots of dicks. Just so many dicks. 100 dicks. I don't know, Max. Here's the thing. When I see a piece of album art or something that I recommend to an artist, if we're talking album art, have something that is so bold and so eye-grabbing that it's either going to stop the person in their tracks when they see it, because the aesthetic is so unique and so strong and so out there that they have to pay attention to it. Either that, or kind of go the safe route and just make sure that when they see the album cover, they know what they're getting into. You know, sort of like when you're a black metal band and, you know, you use certain logo styles and you use certain color gradients to communicate to the person, this is a black metal record. If you're a black metal fan, you're probably going to like this. Just try to make a piece of album art that lets the audience know what they're going to be getting into. You know, because the album art is promotional in a sense. You know, it is art, but it is promotional. And I feel like one of the best things a piece of album art could do is to let the audience know what they're going to be hearing, you know, in a way. Not quite literally by beating them over the head with it, but thanks for all the reviews. Charlie XEX Pop 2 is gold. Big props, my dude. Yeah, it is pretty good. It's a pretty good one. I'm waiting for that big commercial record, though. I'm waiting for that big commercial record moment. Somebody sent me a bunch of leaks of her stuff, and I haven't listened to it yet. And I guess she had like a whole project leak with like A.G. Cook, and I've not heard it yet. Let's see. Tony Tornado. That's a good name. Thank you. I'm really into Mark Kozlik recently. What else can you recommend? No Father John Misty or Mount Erie. Also, have you ever been into writing and poetry? Hope you like my money because I'm a poor college boy. Oh, well, I'm sorry you're a poor college boy. You'll get past it one day. I do like Mark Kozlik quite a bit. I actually have his new record over here. Promo CD just came in a few days ago. Actually, it probably came in a while ago, but it was at my P.O. box, so I didn't pick it up until recently. And I have not heard it yet. I am going to be reviewing it at some point, though. And, kind of hype for that. Austin did a review on the website, which I have shared, and it's a very good review. It's a very passionate, descriptive review of the record. I love a review that informs me of, again, sort of what I'm about to get into, which is, kind of what I hope to achieve with a lot of my reviews. And he did a great job of that. Now, I've never been into writing and poetry personally. As far as like, myself, I mean, there's like a fair bit of weirdo poetry, beatnik poetry, E.E. Cummings type stuff, limerick stuff that I think is very entertaining and is very great. And I get a lot out of, but is it something I've like done myself, or sort of like practice myself or try to become a poet myself? Not really, not honestly. But I just feel like that just is what it is. Now, as far as Mark Kozlik recommendations, I feel like Mark is a one-of-a-kind idiosyncratic artist. Nobody quite tells stories in the way that Mark Kozlik does, especially these days. The only examples I can think of as far as like newer stuff are artists who are like copying his shtick, and not in a bad way. There's Phil Elver, Mount Erie with his new record. So there you go. Make sure you try that record out if you haven't, and also get into Red House Painters if you haven't listened to them already. What is my opinion on music festivals? Too many or no? I mean, if there's a market out there for music festivals, there's a market, I guess there's only too many music festivals if people aren't going, but me personally, I prefer like a smaller, intimate club kind of setting, not so much a music festival. I mean, there have been some festivals that I've gone to and I've had a good time, but it's not typically my gig. Although, I did go to quite a few as a kid. I went to Ozfest like 4 times, I think, when I was in high school. And I fucking loved Ozfest. That was great. All that new metal shit. So, it's a lot of young kids go to festivals, and that's what young kids do. You should go to festivals, have fun, go to a festival, get in the sun, listen to bands in the sun and have a good time and dance with your friends and, meet people and do crazy shit and, get all that wild shit out of you so that when you're, your age, you're ready to become a mature motherfucker. Any recommendations to get into noise music? I like some of Little Ugly Mane's noise stuff. I also like lo-fi punk rock like Teen Generate. I would probably maybe try to make the transition to some noise rock stuff like, I don't know, some Flipper or some Sonic Youth stuff to maybe sort of transition into, maybe like a Boris or a Merzbow. Who else is a really good? Ben Hopkins uses quite a bit of noise in his stuff. I'm trying to think of who else is just like an all-around a good noise artist. Prurient has quite a bit of noise music out there that's really good. Although his new record is very heavy. Let's see. What RSD releases did I buy? I love your review. Where's the Breaking Benjamin review, though? I've always had a negative passion for Breaking Benjamin. I've always disliked their stuff very strongly. So I can't say I'm going to be covering their music anytime soon. But I slept late during Record Store Day because I was up late the night before, and I kind of already went to the record store a few days before because my record store near me had a sale, like an 11th anniversary sale. So I kind of already blew a bunch of money over there before Record Store Day came around. So it kind of wasn't at the forefront of my mind because I just bought a bunch of albums. Parquet Court's ex Karen O's Milano album. Did I ever get a chance to listen to that one? What? That happened? I didn't even know that happened. They have a full collaborative album. I didn't even know that occurred. Danielle Lupi, what is this? What is this? Karen O. Karen O and Parquet Court share the wild true. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't hear enough of it to featuring Karen O. Is Karen O on the whole thing? Yeah, I saw some of this around, but honestly, I don't think I heard much of it. Yeah, I just don't think I heard much of it. But I'm excited for the new Parquet Courts album. I'll say that much. Where's the Sade Classic review? I don't know. Maybe one day. Thoughts on the thoughts on the band? Okay, are we? You're saying the band? Are we talking about the same person? Did you spell the band name wrong? You're talking about Slade? Because you're not talking about Sade. I don't know of another band with that name. Are you talking about the hard rock and the glam rock band? Who did that Runaway track? Because wait, hold on. Okay, well you're saying the band, and it kind of got me confused there because you're saying the band and that's a person. Unless I'm yeah. So yeah, I mean, generally her music's very good. Again, you sort of threw me off there with the band thing. And I didn't read deeper enough into the comment. I apologize for that. Very talented vocalist. Generally, music's very good. Again, I'm not an expert on her stuff, but it's good to see that she's sort of come back on that Wrinkle in Time soundtrack. Hopefully, she sort of comes out with more music soon. I donated and you didn't see it. I apologize, Jonah. I asked you how I feel about Clyro and the rest of that whole bedroom pop scene, like Rex Orange. I've never even gotten into Clyro. So I can't even... Clyro. Yeah, I haven't gotten... Wait, okay, the Pretty Girl song. Yeah, that song's okay. Isn't her dad a big music exec or something? I mean, that Pretty Girl song is cute, But the bedroom pop scene has some decent stuff going on. I mean, the Frankie Cosmos is okay. Rex Orange County is cool. I like that bedroom pop isn't quite as twee as it used to be. I guess it's kind of, bringing in some elements of R&B and stuff. And, mainstream pop and kind of maturing a little bit, but it's still pretty so-so in my opinion. Still not really blowing me away a lot of the time. Do you think Logic is black or white? And what do you think of him saying his next album is not his last? Probably because he got is not his last. I mean, is he saying that okay? Well, I didn't think his next album would be his last. So I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about that. Probably because he just got divorced. Number Free Bobby. I think Logic is biracial, as he says. So, oh, come on, what the heck is going on here? Okay, here we go. The Strokes are my favorite band. What other bands would I recommend that have similar sound or style? I don't know, maybe some old Franz Ferdinand. Maybe that. Favorite artists to see live? Really suggest catching a Garden show. They're two goofy dudes that aren't afraid to embarrass themselves on stage. It's a great time. Yeah, they probably are really fun live. But lately, probably my favorite live show recently was just that David Byrne concert that I caught. His live set was excellent, and just what he was doing with all the different band formations and everything, it was really innovative. Hey, Anthony, here's for my ad block usage. Have I listened to Vassen, which I think great traditional Swedish trio, just released a new album. I've not heard of them, but great traditional Swedish trios are so my thing. No, really, I'm actually gonna put this in my browser and try to check them out, especially if they have a new record out. Swedish folk music. Yeah, I'll see what's up with that. Have I seen the movie Good Time? Oh, I didn't. I was actually meaning to do that because I heard the soundtrack was like popping and shit because of the One O Tricks thing, which I did hear it, but I heard it works really well into the movie. I should check out the soundtrack. I did check out the soundtrack. I reacted to it, I think, in a Why You Know review video, but I've been meaning to see it. But I suck at movies generally, so I apologize for that. Hey, Anthony, what are some artists that are critically acclaimed but I think are overrated and I can't personally get into? Greetings from Peru. Shout out to Peru! Marcellus, what was I just saying was overrated today? I was telling somebody something was overrated. What was I just saying is overrated? What the hell was I saying is overrated? I don't know. I can't remember. But I mean, just in generally, like, what do I think is overrated? What the fuck is overrated? I can't even think what the hell is overrated right now. God, I'm having such a brain fart, and we have like 15 minutes left of this. What is overrated? What's an overrated thing? What the fuck is an overrated thing? I don't know. I feel like the new King Cruel album is kind of overrated, but I guess that's just me. I think I'm the only person who wasn't really into that record. But somebody said Drake. I mean, I guess Drake's a little overrated. I feel like as much as people love Drake, I feel like critically there's still like people understand that Drake is not like fucking Kendrick. You know what I mean? Like, he makes some good catchy songs, but is ghostwriting going to be the next big thing to come out of metal into mainstream? And how hopeful are you that they're... Oh, wait, is Ghost going to be the next... I see Ghost and I'm like, ghostwriting? Can Ghost go mainstream? Maybe they can. I mean, I think they have a great sense of style and, a lot of personality. And as far as like metal bands go, their songs are really catchy and have a great tune to them. So I think Ghost could go a little mainstream. I don't know if the new record is going to top Meliora though, because I feel like Rats is a weak single. I think it's a weak single. Hey, somebody in the chat saying Ice Age is overrated. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Ice Age rules. But yeah, I don't know if the next record is gonna top the last one, honestly. Any thoughts on albums that influenced a lot of bands' sounds after it came out, but isn't recognized as much today? Supertramp's Crime, lyrically speaking. I mean, it sucks that those artists kind of didn't get their shine, but it's music isn't the only discipline in which that's happening. You know what I mean? Lots of artists out there, especially in the portrait world, especially in the painting world, who they die before anybody gives a shit about any of their art. So, it just kind of is what it is. It happens or it doesn't happen, But, that's the thing. The reason that you have albums like that, and Velvet Underground is another example of this, they're another band. And Joy Division in a way too, because the thing is, Joy Division, sure, they were big in Manchester. They were big at, like, people, respected them within the music scene. They came out of the Factory Records music scene. But, like, if New Order didn't happen and sort of shine the light on that scene that they did, like, Joy Division probably would have remained in obscurity. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't this international sensation as they are seen today. But the thing is, like, down the road, New Order is what became that international sensation. There are a lot of artists and bands who unfortunately don't get their time in the sun when they're around. But the thing is, a lot of the gold is going to rise to the top. The cream is going to rise to the top eventually because, musicians are out there listening to stuff on a level that a lot of fans typically aren't. And, there's still music nerds out there repping good stuff. So thoughts on Merchandise 4AD? Haven't seen you review them. I don't even think I've really heard them. Merchandise. I don't think I've really followed that artist or artists. Post-punk band, handful of albums. Yeah, I don't really think I've followed their stuff. Florida. Yeah, I haven't followed their stuff at all, so I cannot comment. So, but Michael, thank you. I'm gonna do a few more, and then I'm gonna have to head out. Why does Fair Warning never get any love? It's, the most underrated Van Halen album. I mean, the first couple of records are pretty good, but I don't know. I'm not really that deep into Van Halen, so I can't really comment that deeply. Can I recommend any other good R&B artists similar to SZA or Kali Uchis? Thanks, Melon. I mean, I guess maybe if you're into Kalani a little bit. I mean, honestly, I think what SZA and Kali are doing is entirely unique. I mean, for Kali, sure, I've made parallels and comparisons between her and, like, Lana Del Rey and that sort of thing, but honestly, like, for her to be kind of approaching so many genres and kind of doing a little bit of a Latin twist on that, I think is kind of really all her. If you want to hear more music that's kind of similar to that style, maybe listen to some of the records she's appeared on lately, the new Tyler record, maybe listen to Bad Bad Not Good's last record, maybe listen to some Rex Orange County, maybe listen to some Lana Del Rey, maybe listen to some FKA Twigs, maybe listen to some Khalees. I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's sort of what I have off the top of my head. Hey, Anthony, I make music, but I don't know if it's going anywhere. If I send you music privately, would you give me an honest opinion as to whether or not I should keep at it? I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, and this is part of the reason that I don't do, reacting to people's stuff, that I don't do, sort of giving you feedback on your music, is because, look, I can't dictate your artistic journey. You know what I mean? And listen, you're probably at a point where you're making music and you're just starting, or you're not that experienced. And when you're at that point when you're making music, you typically suck at fucking making music. Like, your music may totally fucking suck, but I mean, you don't think there was a point where Aphex Twin's music fucking was garbage? You know what I mean? So, like, keep making music if you're passionate about it. If making music makes you happy, then make it. And listen, just because you make music doesn't mean you need to make it your entire fucking life. You can decide to hold down a job at a 9-to-5 and have, a completely, like, nice, laid back, chill life that's stable and healthy, and be making music. The thing is, like, when people make music, I feel like they put way too much fucking pressure on themselves to be successful making music. Like, oh, I gotta be a star. I gotta be selling albums. Everybody's gotta be hearing my fucking music. Like, no, you can just fucking make music. You can just make music for fun. You don't have to be the most famous fucking artist under the sun. You don't have to make it your career. You don't have to be the next cutting edge producer everybody's ever heard. And honestly, when you're a musician, when you're a professional musician, making music isn't even the most time-consuming thing about what you do. Some of the most time-consuming shit that you're going to do as a musician professionally is networking, interviews, live shows, dealing with fucking label people, trying to push and hustle your shit and promote your shit all the time, engaging with fans on social media. That's the shit that takes up all your time. It's not always the creative process. You know what I mean? Like, if you just really want to make music and you care about making music, then just keep making music. If all you're making music for is to be successful and be famous, stop fucking making music. Don't make music. Don't. Stop it. Make music because you like making music. Don't look for a reason from other people to keep making music. If you like doing it, if it makes you happy, if it's something you're good at, then keep doing it. And if you're successful at it, career-wise, then you are. And if you're not, you're not. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a bad musician. It doesn't mean you're a non-successful musician. Like, there are actually like some of the best musicians who I've ever heard and ever seen were not professional musicians, or, were in the industry for a very short amount of time and then got out because whatever they were doing, whatever their performance style, whatever their talent was, there wasn't a demand for it. Because what ends up making money, what ends up being demanded, what ends up allowing musicians to create a stable lives for themselves isn't always dictated purely by talent. So make music if you want to make music. Don't look for other people to tell you whether or not you should do it or should not. And again, don't put so much pressure on yourself that I'm either successful making music or I'm not making music at all. Just that sucks all the fucking fun out of it. You know what I mean? Like, just I didn't fucking start reviewing music thinking I was going to be the most fucking well-known music critic walking the fucking planet. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I wanted to try to be successful at what I was doing, but like, I was really passionate about sharing in the musical experience with people, which I still am, which is why it's so easy to continue doing what I'm doing and do it with the diligence with which I do it. If you have to convince yourself to continue making music by convincing yourself or thinking that, yeah, I'm going to be famous doing this, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. But the thing is, if you're asking me this because it would make you sad and depressed to not be making music anymore because you weren't successful at it, then, maybe you need to reevaluate why you're doing it a little bit and just keep making music for the enjoyment of doing it. So, do you accept electronic press kits? I get tons of them in my email inbox every day. You are welcome to send your own. What are my thoughts on Pavement as a band? Some pretty nice, neato, fun, slacker rock. Not a very big fan of Solo Steven, though, but, Crooked Rain is a great album. And what hyper-literary music do you recommend beyond Newsom or Milo? I'm sure I'm compensating for something. I'd say recommend a book, but I won't read it, sadly. Yeah. Hyper-literary, I mean, are you just saying, like, they reference a lot of writers in their music? I don't know. Does John Darnielle do that? Does Mark Kozlek do that? I guess he does every once in a while. Yeah, I guess hyper literary isn't really a quality I look for per se. Not to say it's a bad thing, but I guess it's not something I follow all that closely. Whether or not the artists I'm following are hyper literary. Okay, this is going to be the last new question I take. Hey, Anthony, live stream Tano. What do I think of the new Ariana Grande song, No Tears Left to Cry? Any expectations for her upcoming album? Great voice, I reacted to that song in my new Best Worst Tracks video, and I think the track is okay. Her voice is great. Great singer. Like, one-of-a-kind pop singer. Strong, deep, womanly, authoritative voice that it just has a lot of power. You know, it's funny. Like for someone of her size, you wouldn't think that vocally she just fucking kills it. But the tune is just not really there. You know, it's got a nice danceable groove to it. It's got kind of a bit of a dance pop throwback to it, but the tune is just okay. You know, aesthetically it sounds good, and again the vocals are great, but the tune is just kind of average. Let me try to run over here and hit up a few questions I may have missed. You know, I'm sorry to anybody whose questions I missed. I typically do miss at least a couple because I get so many thrown at me. I can't get to every single one of them. So again, I apologize for that. So let's try to see if I can get to a few here that I may have missed. Not going to Bonnaroo. I don't know what the lineup is. Tears for Fears is pretty cool, though I'm not really all that obsessed with them. Personally, I have no thoughts on Avicii's death. You know, it's tragic that he passed away, but I was never really like a big fan. And, he did have impact on EDM in that I feel like he brought it to pop prominence more than probably any other artist in his camp did. You know, it was definitely I feel like as far as like EDM producers or, DJs kind of transcending the genre and kind of like really kind of bringing it into a pop scope. You know, you have him, you have Diplo, you have Skrillex. Beyond that, it's just kind of, a bunch of like B-level stuff, so he was definitely one of the heavy hitters out there. And it's, unfortunate that he went out the way that he did. So rest in peace. I have heard Rivers, but I'm not like a huge deep into their discography or nothing. Not that deep into Shintaro either. I can't comment. Don't really care for the Wombats. I find their music kind of bland. But thank you very much for supporting. You said Poptimism once, and I had to look it up. The Wikipedia article made my head spin. Would you shun being called a poptimist? Do you actively try to resist poptimism? Cello Sigh, thank you. No, I don't think I actively try to resist poptimism. I think, everything in healthy doses. I will review the new Tool album, new System of a Down album, maybe not. System of a Down hasn't come out with a great album in a long time. Opinion on gothic rock band Pale Waves. They're barely gothic. Like, they look gothic, but their sound is very bland. Their sound is barely goth, in my opinion. Marlon, Melon, I love your videos. I've been watching for a while. Can you tell us more about the song Taiga you played bass on? That was a band that I was in, which I'm no longer in. And I don't know. It was just kind of a weird experimental drone metal thing that I was doing for a minute. What do I think of R. Stevie Moore? He's one of the greats as far as home recording goes. Good songwriter, lots of personality. I have several of his albums, and I met him in person as well. And he sampled me on at least one or two albums. So he's a good guy. Glad Music is amazing. That is one of his better records. So yeah, I think he's great. He's a sweet man. Hey, Anthony, I make music, but I don't know if it's going anywhere. I addressed that one. I have not listened to the Panopticon yet, but I am planning a review. Denzel Curry is great. And also thoughts on Kim Jong-un meeting with South Korea for the first time today. Hopefully peace is possible, John, and I will leave it at that. Thank you for supporting. I should review the new Pony Baloney. Bunny Brony Fag says, I don't know about no Pony Baloney. I have listened to Billie Eilish. She's okay. Thoughts on Del. Very great lyricist and great personality. Deltron, 3030 is fantastic as well. But Hieroglyphics earlier stuff is better. Newer stuff is not as good. I feel like his solo stuff is kind of trailed off a little bit though. Also Sade is the name of her entire band as well. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the name of the band. That's kind of odd. Although I guess it's like, it's not entirely like weird because I guess Marilyn Manson is the name of the band. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess it's not that weird. I don't know why that threw me off as much as it did. Why hasn't Cal tried out for the XL cover, double XL cover? I don't even know how he would do that. I think he could get in if Bad Baby is in with a shot. That's probably true, Hunter. That's probably true. I already addressed that, but thank you very much, John. I'm only going to be able to stick around for 10 more minutes because I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I'm sorry I missed anybody's question. I always apologize for that. I'm sorry about that. Gaga is releasing a new single with Blood Pop soon. Ooh, that should be interesting. Based on their most recent projects, are you looking forward to it? Yeah, I mean, I thought Gaga's new record was a move in an interesting direction, although working with Blood Pop is probably going to ensure that her new album sounds completely different. But that's an interesting sort of a combination. Parquet Courts, I talked about that one. Watermelon versus Cantaloupe, thoughts on Lana Del Rey's. Some pretty fun noise and industrial music. I'm not that crazy about it though. Where do I see hip hop 5 years from now? Somewhere different. Robot Dell, thank you. And Ahmad, thank you. Please update your Last FM. No. I don't use Last FM anymore, Dylan. I appreciate you supporting, but I don't use it. Let me see. I've not heard that, Joel. I apologize. Can I rank your number one album of the last 5 years, 1 to 5? I cannot. I apologize, Sam. I'm so burnt out right now. I can't rank anything. So all rankings will be on hiatus for the time being. If you start losing your eyesight, can we call you Blind Melon? No, Riff, you cannot. I will forbid that. Adblock Boy, atoning for my sins, don't mind me. Have I heard of Niedra Lades? Usually just a t-shirt by John. I have not. Easily one of the best avant-garde albums ever made. Okay, well that's a high watermark there that you're setting for it. So I'm going to Google that just based on your insane recommendation there. Best choking victim, favorite rap diss song. What is my favorite rap diss song? I don't know. I feel like Remy Ma's diss song toward Nicki Minaj is like easily one of the most brutal that I've ever heard as of late. So probably that. I think Young Thug is the best melodic rapper ever. Where would I rank him? As far as like what? I mean, as far as melodic rapping goes, I feel like he's a bit of an originator. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I rank him pretty high as far as melodic rapping goes. Even if he does tend to put out more, you know, even if he does tend to emphasize quantity over quality. I have any thoughts on the Chariots, noisy metal mathcore? Yeah, I think they're not noisy, mathy, or metal enough, which is why I've never really kind of been that big into them. But thank you very much, Shpalongo. I got the 6 shades off the internet. Centrist. Thank you, centrist. I'm trying to get into Dolly Parton. What are her best albums? Dude, you got to Google that. I really don't know off the top of my head, Captain Falcon. So I apologize. Just listen to whatever is her most highly ranked shit. What is my opinion on mindfulness meditation? I don't do much meditation myself, but maybe I should. Maybe it would help me clear my mind every once in a while. I literally have no opinion on it as I don't do it, but maybe I should. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Let me see. Are there any alt or indie rock bands now that cite Mahavishnu Orchestra as an influence? God, that would be amazing. But to my knowledge, no, not at all. I don't think there are any indie, guitarists out there that, really kind of have those John McLaughlin chops. Mind Fuzz is better than Quarters, but, Quarters, I guess, is weirder. I mean, they're both decent records. I'm not crazy about either, but they're both good. Kenan. Kanye and Chance, let's talk about politics. Let's not. River, I like the idea an artist's mortality shouldn't be associated too heavily with their music, but there is a line to be crossed, and what should be and what would be too far. I really have no idea. Yeah, I really have no idea. Please talk about Kanye and Chance politics. Talk for a long time. Why? Are you saying I shouldn't talk about politics? Or are you talking about I have no idea what you're asking. Are you asking me what Kanye's and Chance's politics are? Because honestly, I don't think we know much of anything about their politics. Please talk about Kanye and Chance's politics. We don't know what their politics are. Like, what does Kanye think about Medicare for all? What does he think about foreign interventions? What does Kanye think about a living wage? What does Kanye think about, I don't know, something like, let's say, giving tax cuts to the rich? What does Kanye think about trickle-down economics? What does Kanye think about the prison system? What does Kanye think about the court system? What does Kanye think about Citizens United? What does Kanye think about Roe v. Wade? We don't know what Kanye thinks about any of these things. We don't know what Kanye thinks about any of these things. Like, we know Kanye likes Trump, and we know that Chance has done some charitable things for Chicago, and we know that Chance thinks that not all rappers or black people need to be Democrats, which, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, there are lots of black conservatives out there, and I think people don't quite understand just how conservative some rappers out there actually are. Like, how closely adhering to traditional values a lot of them actually are. There are quite a few, especially when you go back into the genre. But we literally don't know what any of their politics are. So there's literally, as far as politics and policy, not really much of anything to talk about. You know, I mean, we can talk about the drama of, Kanye stirring the left and the right up with, his cosigns and what he's been saying lately. But at the end of the day, it's not really politics. It's sensationalism, and again, at the end, I feel like a lot of it has to do with him kind of pushing, attention on himself and attention on his music. I don't think it's a coincidence that he would come out and start saying all these things just as he has albums to promote. You know what I mean? To me, it's a little too convenient. And that's not to say that Kanye doesn't genuinely believe some of the things that he's saying, but he's fully aware of the drama it's going to create, and he is going to use that drama to benefit himself. I just dropped a review of the new A Perfect Circle album. You should go check it out, Caden, but thank you very much for supporting. Are the Tonys the best R&B group of the 90s? Maybe they are. I mean, what about TLC or Boyz II Men? They were pretty sick too. What do I think about Leftover Crack and Choking Victim? Leftover Crack, the first record's kind of good, but after that I feel like they really fell off. Choking Victim was great though. They were amazing. Is the new Kid Cudi toleratable? Are you talking about the song that's on that rock soundtrack? Because that song I thought was pretty decent. Do you think he could ever redeem himself in your eyes? I mean, I think Kid Cudi, he had a couple good songs on his last album. I think Kid Cudi makes good tracks every once in a while. I just don't think he's very consistent. Favorite Pig Destroyer album is probably Terrifier. They're great. Thank you very much, Hedge. I don't play Fortnite. My favorite meme is Millhouse is not a meme. And I'm going to have to duck out in a minute, so I apologize again to... hey, Melanie, I'm a fan of the NPR Tiny Desk series. They do have some cool performances, but I think it all really kind of depends on who they're inviting and what they do. But, generally the Tiny Desks are pretty good. Yeah, it's a good series. Couch Chest's favorite restaurant is Subway. They got good wraps. That's true. It sounds like a Couch Chest a bar. It sounds like a bar he'd drop. Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Page Cuckboy? Ooh. I mean, Jimi Hendrix is just the better all-arounder. I mean, Jimmy Page is a great guitarist, but Jimi Hendrix, great guitarist, great singer, great writer. I think more iconic as a rock musician as well, so I'm going to have to go Hendrix. Say Daddy Daycare gets a 0%, completely rotten. I said it. Listen to the new Sleep record, wondering if you have any Stoner Doom Rex, Bong Ripper, Bongzilla, Electric Wizard, Spacemen 3. Those are some good stoner rock recommend. Weed Eater. Those are good stoner rock recommendations. Hopefully, stoner rock, stoner metal. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to cut it out. You're the best. I love you. Let me hit you guys up with some love in the chat. Some love in the chat. Love in the chat. Where's the chat love? Here's the chat love. I'm giving the chat love. I'm giving the chat love. Love toward the chat. Love toward the chat. Love toward the chat. I'm sending the chat love. Answer my question. I'm sorry to anybody whose question I didn't answer. I cannot, answer every single question in 2 hours. I apologize for that. But thank you to everyone who supported and is supporting. I appreciate that. I thank you. 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 Where are the beanies? I shipped the beanies. If you didn't get your beanie, email me back at the email address you sent the PayPal payment to. And, I can figure out with your tracking number if you got your beanie or not, or where your beanie is. So, I mean, I've sent out the beanies. If you didn't get your beanie, you got to email me back or, submit a PayPal thing and, we'll handle it. So, customer service. That's what we try to do here. Come here, boy. Brap, 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 melon, melon. Well, let's see. Hi, Mom, yeet by my guy. Melon, I'm going to investigate. Don't forget to research toad grass. My wife hates my guts. Toad grass, baby. What's your favorite game? Battletoads. Melon. Melonwood by Kendrick is a hobgoblin. Review Heinz, please. They're okay. Heinz is okay. I don't know what I really don't have much to say about the new Heinz album. Perception, 1991. Listen to Sorry Demos Volume 1 on YouTube. Everyone, listen to Sorry Demos Volume 1 on YouTube. Centrist. Yes, hit me up on Twitter and harass me over being a centrist, okay? Just make sure to tweet at me after this live stream is over and say, Anthony, I hate you. You're a centrist. You're such a terrible centrist piece of garbage. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go into my notifications here. I want to see dozens of tweets saying, Anthony, you're centrist trash. I wish you were dead. I hate that you're a centrist. Marx was right. You're terrible. Market economies are awful. I hate that you're such a centrist and you're going to go to the gulag. Make sure to tell me I'm going to go to the gulag, okay? That's really what I want to hear. And that would just brighten my day. And that's going to be it. All right? I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Forever.